With the Pentagon being given a $25 billion budget increase, we ask, what was all the celebration about when Biden's administration came into power? Remember all the late night talk shows? Remember the rainbow flags in the street? Imagine that was all taking place. Like, yes, another $25 billion for the Pentagon. Is there very much to get excited about? Here's the story. Senate panel approves $25 billion Pentagon budget increase. The Senate Armed Services Committee agreed on Thursday to add $25 billion to the President Joe Biden's already massive $715 billion Pentagon spending request, a move that prompted immediate outrage from progressive activists who have been demanding cuts to the bloated US military budget. $715 billion. I don't know much about money, and that seems like a lot, doesn't it? And of course, like, as you'll know if you've watched my episode of Under the Skin with Jocko Willink, I'm a person that's I'm not like some kind of a hippie lefty, hey man, I hate the military. I think that people that are in the military are brave and self-sacrificing, and I admire them. But what I'm interested in here is such a significant increase in expenditure when what it seemed we were told was being voted for under Biden is a kind of sort of cleaner, clearer, more decent, more upstanding politics. Chaired by Senator Jack Reed, the Senate committee adopted a proposal to boost the budget by a further $25 billion in a 25-1 vote. Wow, it was a landslide. The vote aligned Republican defense hawks with Democrats from across the political spectrum, so it was a bipartisan committee. Because of its role in setting defense policy, which determines subsidies and other awards to private industry, the Senate Armed Services Committee is awash in cash from military contractors. So it's almost like it's a committee that's set up to receive donations and to exert influence over government policy. Similar to the video we did about Nancy Pelosi and Paul Pelosi's earnings as a result, perhaps, of information she has as a result of her job. This committee seems to exist only to exert influence that is, in my opinion, anti-democratic. I feel like real democracy would be like Joe Biden would be sort of campaigning and people were saying, we want to spend $25 billion more than even we're saying in our massive $715 billion Pentagon proposal. Are you well into that? Yes! According to Open Secrets, Jack Reed's top contributors during the 2020 campaign cycle included Lockheed Martin and General Dynamics, two of the leading beneficiaries of federal contracts. Once again, allow it to wash over you the feeling of weariness and despair that the significant roles in the structure of your political governance are occupied by people that are taking money from powerful interests in order not to represent your needs and interests, but the interests of, e.g. Lockheed Martin and General Dynamics. Unless in your Candyland perspective, Lockheed Martin and General Dynamics are, here's some money, do what you will with that, and when you get into government, we trust you'll do right by us. It's not like that, is it? Democrat Mark Kelly said the budget build-up was needed to meet military requirements. We've got to meet the old requirements. We've got to meet them. This is practical. It also funds the development of new technologies to maintain our competitive edge while addressing a broader scope of national security priorities. Well, in my opinion, and I've been wrong before, but your government's primary interest is keeping you subdued and dull, inoculated and castrated, so that you don't ever go, what the fuck are you doing now with our money? The number one enemy of any government is the people that they're governing. They're the biggest threat to that government's ongoing hegemony. Biden's budget is enormous everywhere, said one defence lobbyist who asked not to be named. I'm a defence lobbyist and I prefer you didn't name me. So you're going to fight over $25 billion for defence? It's nothing. It's a rounding error at this point. Well, that rounding error, I believe, will be enough to end homelessness, would it? Carly Town, co-director of the anti-war group Code Pink, said just the proposed $25 billion increase to the Pentagon budget alone could end homelessness in the United States, making clear that senators are more interested in increasing profits for military contractors than meeting the needs of everyday working people. So this isn't even about holding America's got to be a strong country, look at the threat of China and all of that. This isn't even about that. This is about making money for defense contractors. So, when you salute your flag or love your nation, as I'm sure many people do, and I recognize the sincerity of that emotion, whether that nation is China, France, England, Ireland, wherever, then know that what it is you are really supporting is the ability of powerful people to make money for one another. It ain't anything else. That's like a sort of a necessary sprinkling so that the bullshit don't smell too rich. But that is not the modus operandi. That is not the raison d'etre. That is not any little foreign phrase that I could list for you. That means, in this example, that what America represents is profits for powerful interests rather than concern and care for, the most disadvantaged and vulnerable people in society. Now, I'm not talking about American people here, because I know American people. I lived in America. Decent, upstanding, honourable, good people, wherever you find them on the political spectrum, or those phony divisions and divides that are set out before us to keep us from uniting against our true, if not enemy, opponent, these interests, the very interests we're describing here. Your values are not being represented because your values are not profitable. While millions of Americans are steeped in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, facing eviction and struggling to pay medical bills amidst an ongoing health pandemic and recession, the Senate Armed Services Committee decided to hurl even more taxpayer dollars at an increasingly privatised for-profit war industry. It doesn't work, does it? The nation state in its current form, America or Britain or France or wherever, it doesn't work. It's not interested in you. It's not interested in your well-being, your welfare, not interested in caring about you, dealing with your problems, your family's problems, your community's problems, however you identify, whatever community you're from, whatever colour you are, and whatever it is you believe in. You are a subset of irrelevant details way out on the periphery, while at the pinnacle of this pyramid of power are interests such as these, the Senate Armed Services Committee. Any real change, let's just, from the videos we've been doing lately, you would go, ban lobbying, ban people in Congress or Senate making money from anything other than their job for the entire duration that they're in there, maybe for 10 years after. Imagine the reasons. No, we can't do that. If we was able to do it. Look, are you just saying this because these things really benefit you? Oh, well, think about it. I suppose they do benefit us, but no. Oh, when did you become so cynical and jaded? When you gave another $25 billion to the Pentagon, even though they've got $715 billion. Robert Weissman, president of the watchdog group Public Citizen, said in a statement Thursday that anyone who cares about our national security should oppose this increase in Pentagon spending and demand. When the coronavirus has demonstrated that all the guns in the world can't protect our national security, when the US spends more on its military than the next 11 nations combined, when the Pentagon can't pass an audit, when the Pentagon continues to lavish funds on the F-35, which is 10 years behind schedule, double the original price tag, and plagued by performance issues like engines that don't work. Alright, just because the engines don't work, that don't mean it ain't a good plane. Well, it does. One of the first things, look, I'll be honest, the first thing I want, wings. After that, I want the engine. Are there wings? Yeah, we've got wings, they're done. Does the engine work? Good, just look at these wings. We've done a great job on them. They're the same size, they're aerodynamic. Look at this, 10 years behind schedule. That's ages. I mean, I've worked with some bad builders in my time. Like, oh, bloody hell, mate, that cost more than you said it was going to cost. And it's taking longer than you said it was going to take. And the engine's working. Oh, if you want engines to work, that's going to take another 10 years, I'm afraid, mate. He continues, our man Weissman. What possible justification is there for increasing the Pentagon budget over and above the increase already requested by the Biden administration? Well, it seems that is a rhetorical question, to which the rhetorical answer is there is no justification unless you consider the increased profiteering of the elites involved in the military-industrial complex as a sufficient incentive. Well, there you go. Further evidence that don't get excited. If you're sat watching late night TV or SNL or whatever, these are all good shows. These are shows I've been on. These are shows I admire. People I admire. But the actual fact is that what are you? Yeah, woo, Biden, $25 billion. Don't be distracted. Don't be foolish. Stay awake. Don't fill your head with saccharine nonsense. Waken yourself right up nice. Have a look at that Nancy Pelosi video. Have a look at both the Nancy Pelosi videos we did. Give us your comments in the comments. We want to stay in dialogue with you. Give us the old like, turn on the notifications and keep subscribing. Circulate this content. Wake people up. Slap them out of their malaise if you have to. Get these things on your blog. Spread this information. Sign up to my mailing list on russellbrand.com, and if you want a deeper dive on these kind of subjects, sign up to my Luminary podcast, Under the Skin, where I also do an additional weekly podcast. Dave Chappelle's on there as well. It's a fantastic network, Luminary. Thanks very much for watching this. Cheers. See you soon. Ooh, stay free.